Welcome to Fairy Animal Stories, your go-to place for heartwarming and emotional humans and animal stories. The golden light of the setting sun stretched across the empty training field, casting long, flickering shadows of chain link, fences and worn-down cones that had once guided the steps of officers and their four-legged partners in drill after drill. The breeze was gentle, carrying with it the faint scent of cut grass and the echoes of barking dogs from a distant kennel. It was quiet now, eerily quiet for a place that had once been alive with shouts, whistles, and paws pounding the earth. Officer Mark Daniels stood still beside his old truck, his hand clenched tightly around a frayed, faded leash, the same leash that had accompanied him and his canine partner Rex through 7 years of unwavering loyalty, countless missions and dangers neither man nor dog had ever flinched from. Rex had been more than a partner. He had been Mark's protector, best friend, and constant companion through some of the most difficult years of his life. When Mark had lost his father, Rex was there, sitting silently at his side. When a drug bust went south and left Mark injured and shaken, it was Rex's steady presence that brought him back to focus. And when Mark began to feel the weight of burnout, the dog's enthusiasm never wavered, always ready, always eager, always by his side. But the job had taken its toll on Rex too, and after a high-risk operation in which the dog had leapt a fence to subdue a suspect and severely injured his spine, he was retired. Department policy dictated that dogs unable to continue service would be rehomed, preferably with civilian families equipped to provide medical care and a peaceful environment. Mark had fought tooth and nail to adopt Rex himself, but regulations, red tape, and timing had stood in the way. By the time a decision was made, Rex had already been placed in a home hours away, with a loving woman named Janine who cared for retired working dogs. Mark wasn't even allowed a proper goodbye, just a brief email notification, a couple of photographs and silence. The following months had been difficult. Mark continued on the force, but the absence of Rex's quiet company in the passenger seat of the squad car, the lack of their unspoken understanding during tense situations left an aching void. He tried to fill it with paperwork, with new recruits, even with a new canine partner, but nothing matched the bond he'd had with Rex. Then, 2 years later, Janine reached out. She had found Mark's old badge, number etched into Rex's collar, and tracked him down. "He's not the same dog anymore," she had warned gently over the phone. "He's older. He's slower. He doesn't play the way he used to. He barely responds to commands. But sometimes when a police car passes, he perks up, like he's waiting for someone." That was all Mark needed to hear. Now, as he stood in the field, heart pounding like a rookie on his first day, he saw Rex across the open space, thinner now, a little stooped in the back legs, gray peppering his once dark muzzle, his eyes slightly dimmed but still scanning, still alert. Rex was sniffing near a bush, unaware of who had arrived. Mark called out, voice catching, "Rex!" The dog lifted his head slowly, ears twitching, his eyes narrowing as he focused on the figure across the field. No immediate recognition, no bounding run, just hesitation. Mark walked forward, calling again, "It's me, boy. It's Mark." Still nothing. A few slow steps, tail neither wagging nor still. Mark dropped to his knees. He remembered something. A training command. Unique to them, never used by anyone else. "Watch," he said softly. "Heel." Rex froze. His ears shot upright. He sniffed the air with intensity, and then suddenly, like the gears in his mind finally clicked into place, he sprinted. Not trotted, not limped. Sprint. Years seemed to melt off his aging frame. As he closed the distance with a burst of speed neither Mark nor Janine believed possible anymore. The dog collided with Mark, barking wildly, not with warning but with joy. He barked, whimpered, spun in circles, leapt on Mark's chest and licked his face furiously, as if trying to erase the 2 years of separation in a single minute. Mark couldn't stop the tears. He held Rex close, burying his face in the dog's fur, whispering over and over again, "I missed you, buddy. I missed you so much." And then came the part that no one could have predicted. Rex, who had struggled with mobility and pain, began to move like a dog reborn. He performed their old routines on command, barking with joy, weaving between cones, responding to commands like stay, track, and down with a precision and eagerness that stunned Janine to tears. It was like the very presence of his former partner, had restored something vital within him, not just memory, but strength, purpose, identity. For over an hour, the two moved together as if no time had passed at all. And when the energy wore off and Rex finally grew tired, he walked to Mark's truck and sat beside it, just like he used to when their shifts ended. He looked up, waiting, hoping, knowing. Mark opened the passenger side door, and Rex leapt in, curled up on the seat like he'd done 1,000 times before, letting out a soft groan as he rested his head. It was the image of peace, of reunion, of something whole being made again. Janine approached slowly, watching with moist eyes. "He chose," she said simply. "You were never just a handler to him. You were home." In the weeks that followed, the department made an exception, perhaps moved by the story, or perhaps realizing rules sometimes needed, breaking for the sake of something deeper. Mark was finally allowed to adopt Rex. The old warrior spent his remaining days with the man he loved most, going on slow walks, lounging on the porch, occasionally barking at passing patrol cars as if reminding the world he still had one eye on the job. Rex passed away peacefully in his sleep a year later, his head resting on Mark's boot, the same way he had done every day since they were reunited. Mark buried him beneath the old oak tree in the backyard, where a small plaque reads, "Rex K9 Officer, Hero, Partner, and Friend. Love never forgets." And in every beat of silence, every breeze that passed through the leaves, Mark swore he could still feel him there, watching, waiting, home at last.